The Battle of Stamford Bridge, 25th September 1066. The death of King Edward in January 1066 started a struggle for the throne of England. At the time, Britain came under attack by William of Normandy from the south and King Harold Hardrada from the north. Hardrada wanted the crown of England and sailed in with 300 ships. Now, some of these ships were allegedly supply ships. Contrary to other estimates I found around online, there were likely less than 9,000 Viking soldiers. They were reinforced by Tostig Godwin's little militia at Orkney Island. It sounds like it was a fairly small force anyway. I guess I should probably follow that up by telling you that in 1065, Tostig Godwinson, the brother of Harold Godwinson, was ousted from his role as the Earl of Northumbria and was at odds with his brother because he was to be the next king of England. So basically, the king-to-be, Harold Godwinson, had a two-front war on his hands and was stuck in a position of leaving the south of England unprotected to march north toward the city of York, who ended up surrendering to Harold Hardrada's men without much of a fight at all. Harold Godwinson decided to go on and march north and hit Hardrada, hoping that he would have plenty of time to turn around and hit William of Normandy before he could strike from the south. So, under the guise of handing off hostages to Hardrada, Harold agreed to meet at Stamford Bridge. For some reason, Hardrada, king of the Norsemen, was confident that Harold could not possibly have been foolish enough to leave the south of England undefended. In turn, Hardrada foolishly left behind a third of his troops in York and headed to the bridge, even going so far as leaving most of his armor behind. So, I mean, the man really wasn't prepared. Harold Godwinson, in fact, played Hardrada. When the armies converged, the Anglo-Saxon forces attacked. This battle raged on for several hours, from what I could tell. But as soon as the British broke their shield wall, however, the Viking forces were crushed. Both Harold Hardrada and Tostig Godwinson were killed in the battle. Of course, Harold Godwinson's men rushed onward toward the city, taking back the city of York. The remainder of the Norse, who had been guarding the ships, led a counterattack against the Anglo-Saxon troops, and made a good bit of progress, actually, but eventually these Norse forces were divided, and Harold Godwinson allowed the remaining Norse to go home, after forcing them to promise not to attack England ever again, which they eagerly agreed to and fled. The battle itself stretched far beyond the bridge, and the Vikings' losses were so major that of 300 ships that they only needed less than 30 to sail back to Norway. Likely some of those were supply ships too. Of course, this didn't stop the French forces under William of Normandy from attacking. By the time the second French attack force hit England, Harold was forced to turn south. As you can imagine, his victory was pretty short-lived. Harold Godwinson was killed at the Battle of Hastings in October of 1066. This battle marked the start of the Norman conquest of England, and William the Conqueror was crowned as king on Christmas Day of 1066. Well, that's all I know. I tried to be as historically accurate as possible while writing this, but I left out some key details of the battle. But I at least illustrated here that though Harold Godwinson defeated Hardrada's men, his victory was only short-lived, and he didn't even get to claim the throne of England. Good day and goodbye.